It started with laughter, mocking, dismissive laughter that echoed through the bank's marble lobby. "I'll pay you double if you have a balance," the manager chuckled, his voice carrying across the desks. People turned, eyes flicking toward the man in the worn-out jacket standing quietly at the counter. The stranger didn't react. He just smiled, calmly, knowingly. No one in that bank knew that under those frayed sleeves was the signature hand that approved every single loan, signed every promotion, and kept the entire institution alive. The man everyone thought was broke was, in fact, the CEO. The story begins in a small branch of Northern Crown Bank, a mid-sized financial institution known for its glossy advertisements and "We care for you" slogan that had long lost its meaning inside its own walls. The staff there had learned to value appearances more than people. Customers in fancy suits got smiles and coffee. Those in tattered clothes got sighs and short answers. It was an unspoken rule everyone followed, except one new trainee named Eliza. Eliza was only 23, still learning the ropes, and she struggled every day to find her place among senior staff who dismissed her soft-spoken nature as weakness. She believed in kindness, in the humanity behind every bank statement, but in a place where numbers mattered more than names, kindness often made her the odd one out. That morning it started like any other, busy, transactional, cold. Then he walked in. The man in the old jacket stood quietly at the front, clutching a small envelope. His hands were calloused, the kind that had held more work than wealth. He smiled politely as he waited, but the manager, Mr. Clark, barely looked up. "Yes," Clark said, his tone clipped. "We're quite busy today. If you're here to deposit coins, please use the machine." "I'm here to check my balance," the man replied softly. Clark smirked. "Sure thing, sir. But I'll tell you what." He gestured at the other tellers, smirking. "I'll pay you double if you have a balance worth checking." Laughter broke out among the staff. Eliza froze, shocked. The man, however, didn't flinch. Instead, he smiled slightly. "Is that so?" he said. "Then I suppose I'll take you up on your offer." Clark laughed again, waving toward Eliza. "Go ahead, rookie. Enter his ID and show our generous friend his balance. Let's see how many zeros he's got, besides the ones in his life." Eliza hesitated but took the card gently. When she typed in the details, her breath caught. The screen filled with numbers, impossibly large ones. 9 figures, then 10. Her fingers trembled. She thought she'd made a mistake, but when she double-checked, the reality sank in like a thunderbolt. She looked up, eyes wide. The man's calm smile hadn't changed. Clark noticed her expression and frowned. "Well," he demanded, "what's so funny?" Eliza swallowed hard. "Sir, this is Mr. Daniel Mercer." Clark blinked. "Who?" "Daniel Mercer," she repeated. "The CEO of Northern Crown Bank." Silence swallowed the room. Clark's smirk vanished, replaced by panic that drained the color from his face. The laughter died instantly. Everyone stared as the man, Mr. Mercer, reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small silver pin, the company crest glinting beneath the fluorescent lights. "Surprised?" he said softly. "I like to visit our branches sometimes without the suit, without the title. It helps me see how we really treat people." No one spoke. Clark stammered something about a misunderstanding, but Mercer raised a hand to stop him. "You said you'd pay me double if I had a balance," Mercer said, his voice still calm, but heavy now with something that carried weight far beyond words. "But what I want to see was how much balance this branch truly had, in respect, in integrity, in heart. It seems we're bankrupt in all three." Eliza lowered her gaze, her heart pounding, unsure if she should stay or step back. But Mercer turned toward her with a faint smile. "Except maybe for you," he said quietly. "You treated me with dignity before you knew who I was. That's worth more than any number on a screen." The entire staff stood frozen as Mercer left the counter, his footsteps echoing in the silence he left behind. Clark's career was over by sunset. But for Eliza, that day marked the beginning of something she never expected. An invitation to meet with Mercer personally at the head office. When she arrived there, nervous and small among glass towers and executives, Mercer greeted her with the same warmth he'd shown that morning. "Do you know why I called you here?" he asked, She shook her head. Because we need people like you, he said. People who remember that behind every number is a story. Behind every deposit, a dream. He paused and smiled. I want you to help me rebuild that belief in every branch. And that was how Eliza's life changed. Not because of luck, but because she refused to treat anyone as less. Months passed, and under her guidance, Northern Crown Bank began to change. Customer service improved, morale lifted, and a culture of empathy began to grow in a place once ruled by arrogance. Years later, when people talked about the transformation of the bank, few remembered the exact moment it began. But those who did would smile and whisper about the day a manager laughed at a stranger, only to discover he'd been mocking the man who owned the building. And Eliza? She never forgot Mercer's words. Character, he told her once, isn't tested when you face the powerful. It's revealed when you face the powerless. In the end, it wasn't money or title that changed lives that day. It was humility. It was grace. It was a reminder that kindness costs nothing, but can be worth everything. Because sometimes the richest people in the world are the ones who never need to prove it.